sewing, making lovely things. Come on and join us. It's almost time for Thread Life with Belle. Yeah, I said the live show is starting soon, so keep your YouTubes tuned to Thread Life with Belle, with Belle, with Belle. On YouTube starting very soon, so stay tuned. Belle is getting ready for you. Quilting, teaching, sewing, making lovely things. Come on and join us. It's almost time for Thread Life with Belle. Yeah, I said the live show is starting soon, so keep your YouTubes tuned to Thread Life with Belle. Thread Life, Thread Life, Thread Life, Thread Life, Thread Life, Thread Life with Belle, starting soon.
Hey quilty friends, it's Monday night, wild and crazy time here at Thread Life with Belle. Welcome. We are going to learn something to make English paper piecing easier and faster, and that's how to make your own leave-in stabilizer papers. Hello Elizabeth, welcome. I'm glad you're here and that you like my intro song. Thank you. I think it's fun too. It's funny when I'm standing here watching the countdown, I kind of usually kind of bebopping to the song. It makes me just kind of want to dance or sing. So I'm glad you like it. For some of you joining, some people left some really sweet comments on my last two lives. So this is my fifth one now, I think. I believe it is. Hey, Prepped Eternity Homestead, welcome back. I've got some people that are coming back that have been with me for the last 4, so this is live, I think, number 5. And we pretty much are getting all the kinks worked out, so thanks for all your patience with learning all the equipment and volume and sound and all the things. Tonight, I'm going to show you how I make leave-in stabilizer. I use leave-in stabilizer for leave-in papers for English paper piecing. It's actually one of my most watched videos from when I had a tutorial. I still have it. It's still on this channel somewhere. So it's there. But we are going camping this coming weekend, as long as it's not going to rain us out. And I'm going to take English paper piecing with me. I'm actually going to be doing a live, the signal permitting, from the campsite to teach beginner English paper piecing. I'm going to do a live and I'm actually going to show you for beginners how to actually stitch a hexie together. But the first step is this one. This is part 1. And that's kind of getting everything ready and making our leave-in papers that go in our hexies, basically. So the way it got started is I started English paper piecing several years ago, and I used the paper method, thick cardstock. And I did not love pulling out the papers because it would mess up my pretty glued fabric that was, I glue based. I don't stitch mine as far as basting with thread. Hey Dawn, welcome from Thermoweb. We're glad you're here. I'm going to be talking about my stabilizer that I use, and it is Heat and Bond from Thermoweb. They actually sent this to me to use tonight. So anyway, I glue based, and when you use papers, it undoes all of those beautiful glued pieces of fabric, and you have to usually kind of press them back down, and I just didn't love it. And I was like, I'm not going to keep doing this. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to get in my craft closet, see what I can find. Is there something other than paper that I can use that I can just leave them in there and not mess with it? And there is firm stabilizer. So what we're going to be using tonight, I used to use something different, and Thermoweb, Dawn's on tonight, sent me, it's the Heat and Bond Fusible. This is the Craft Extra Firm Heat and Bond firm stabilizer, and it's fusible. So I'm going to kind of show you some with the Fusible and a little slight variation with it as well. So this is what I'm going to be using. Now I actually have yardage of this I'm going to be cutting from, but I wanted you to see what the package is. All the links for everything I'm going to talk about tonight are in the description box below. So that is there. And Quilt Husband is also dropping some links in there for you too if you can't go down to the description box and find them. So a couple things. One is I use my Accuquilt hexie die, okay? I use this, and I also have a jewel petal die. And this one I designed, and I had the first one manufactured myself to use, and then I approached Accuquilt and I launched it with them. So they actually now sell the jewel petal shape, and I'll show that to you. It's actually this one here. It's this shape. We'll hold it up next to me there. It's one of my favorites to combine with the hexie. So I have these two dies, and the hexie shape is really probably the most popular. You could make these papers with any of the Accuquilt dies that have one for the papers and one for the fabric. So that's why I love these two also. The top bigger one, let's see. The top bigger one here is for your papers up on the top, and the bottom is for your papers, the top is for your fabric. So you can cut everything with one die. And this is the 6-inch die. And so we actually can use the Go Me. This is the Go Me cutter. It's super small. It's their smallest cutter that they have. And I'll do an overhead view of all this in a minute, but I wanted you to see. I've taken this with me before when we've traveled like to a cabin, or even when I've gone camping, if I've needed to cut papers or fabric. I normally do all of this ahead of time though. So that's what I'm prepping for. We're going camping, and I'm going to take my stuff, but this folds up. So this is their smallest. It's the Go Me, really easy, and it's affordable compared to some of their larger cutting systems if you don't use that. But if you have any of the cutters, it will work with any of it. This is the die that you would need. Now, I do want to say, if you don't have Accuquilt, you can still cut your papers. You're just going to want to basically use a rotary cutter, and you'll have to kind of use a ruler, and you'll have to cut around papers that you already have to do them that way, and it takes a long time. That's why I ended up going the Accuquilt route way. So if you're someone that really enjoys English paper piecing and it's something you think you're going to really want to do for a while, I would suggest getting the die and the cutter. If you're not sure if you even like English paper piecing, I do have a beginner kit on my website. It's literally got enough to make 2 hexies and 1 jewel petal. It's got your thread, your needle, your directions. There's links to 3 videos on how to do it. And that's basically because a lot of people said, Belle, I've never done it. I don't want to buy all the things and all of that. So these are your basics. And if you decide you like it, you can always upgrade to all the fancy stuff. But it comes in this little pouch, a little zip pouch. And this is actually what I travel with whenever I'm flying. So it has all my supplies in here, and I stitch on the plane or when I'm waiting, you know, for in the terminal or what have you. So you do have that option if you just want to see what this is all about. If you've already got the Accuquilt and you want to get the die, this is my process, and it is so much faster. So I'm going to be using the Craft Extra Firm Heat and Bond. This is by Thermoweb. Fusible interfacing. And so what that means is after we cut these little pieces of paper, I've got some cut, and then we're going to cut them together tonight. I'm going to show you how it works to fuse it to your fabric, your hexies that you've cut also with this, or if you've manually cut them also. These are 1 inch. So I'm using the 1 inch die for 1 inch hexies, and then also that is a 1 inch for the jewel petal. So we're going to cut those together. I'm also going to show you here in a minute kind of all the things that I use that you would need if you want to do this. And then on Friday at 1 o'clock, my usual time that we're trying out the 1 o'clock Friday time, from my campsite, I'm actually going to show you how to stitch the hexie and kind of all the things I use in that process. Okay? All right. Elizabeth. Oh, that's great. You won the Go from me several years ago. Congratulations. Yeah. Accuquilt has sponsored some stuff of mine before to win. And so that's great. You're all set. You've got that. Now you just need the die. Okay, friends. Well, let's get started. I'm going to change to my overhead view here. And before I do, if you haven't subscribed and liked, if you would do that to the video, that would be so helpful. It helps other people find the channel, and it also helps my channel get going too, because it's all new, this whole live thing for me. So thanks for doing that. All right, let's get started and let me show you what all I have here for this process. Now you might be wondering, what is English paper piecing? So this is a sample here. This is a larger kind of medallion here of hexies. If you've seen the grandmother's flower garden quilts, that's what this is. And here's what the back looks like. Now these are leave-in. This is all leave-in. You see how flexible that is? But it's still firm enough that you can fold over the edges of your fabric over on top of your leave-in stabilizer there, which is really nice. So this is one that I stitched up traveling. I think I was flying somewhere. Now, what I'm gonna show you on Friday is just to be able to stitch the center one here, the small little hexies here. And if you've got grandbabies, you've got kids, and you're in the car rider line, you've got doctor's appointments, this is a great little thing to just take with you and do as you go. It is also an amazing use of scraps. So I've got some here that sometimes I do it if I am on like a Zoom and I'm watching a some type of educational program or something like that. I will be actually gluing these, and so this is my little stash here of all of my fabrics. These are all cut, these are all scraps. All this is scraps left over. And I use my Accuquilt a lot as far as cutting up scraps a lot. So that's what I've got here. I got this little tin. I've got a lot of papers already cut. So this is the one that I keep here in my studio with those supplies, just this little bin. Now, sometimes when I'm traveling, depending on how long I'm going to be gone or how much room I have a Yazzie craft bag, and I just actually appliqued my hexie on here, and it has all these pockets. And so this has got all these pockets to put all of your supplies in here, and so I travel with this one sometimes if I'm going to be gone longer and need more room. You can use whatever works for you, but I did want to at least kind of show you some options there of ways to store your EPP. A couple other things is thread. So thread is important, I've learned, and I have found that using 80 weight thread or 60 weight thread is ideal because you don't see the thread so much. And normally you'll pick a color that blends with your fabric. So these are my curated collections that I did with Wonderfill a few years ago, and I curated this collection here with my branding colors. So you've got 3 neutrals, and then you've got 3 colors here. And then this is the bobbinator. And the bobbinator actually is super handy. I keep one here, and I'll zoom in for you so that you can see it. This is the bobbinator, and it actually holds 3 bobbins. No, actually 4 bobbins. Let's get in close there for you. There we go. It holds bobbins, and there's actually a hole in the top, and that's because you could actually put this on top of your sewing machine and use up all the bobbin that you've got on all your bobbins laying around. If you want to start using that up, you can use it as like a spool of thread. But I actually throw it in my bag, and there's a little slit on the side here so you can actually pull out your thread, and it's not just all tangled everywhere in your bag. And you've got one compartment for the one that you're pulling from, and then the other 3 is storage at the bottom here. So you've got the storage there, which is really nice. So anyway, I've got both of these on my website if you need thread. If not, 80 weight cottonized polyester is really good. It's strong. Or 60 weight cotton. I know some people absolutely want to only use cotton and not polyester. You could use 60 weight. So those are my recommendations for thread as far as supplies that you would need for that as well. Also, a couple other things that you're going to want. You're going to want to have a glue stick. I use the Soline glue stick. You might want a thimble, depending on, if you feel like you need that or not. You'll want a needle minder, so some kind of needle minder. I use the Sew Tights Coral Dots, and these actually keep your 2 pieces together. You'll see more on this on Friday. It keep your 2 pieces together as you're stitching. A little pair of snips would be good. I also use thread gloss. This is the Southern Blend, and it smells really yummy. It helps your thread from tangling so much. And then I've got a little needle book, And I'm gonna be doing a live tutorial soon on how to make a needle book if you want to hang out for that sometime soon. And that's all I've got. That's all I keep in there. And then of course I've got my papers that are ready to go, and I'm gonna show you how to do that in a few minutes. That's all ready, and I just use great big jumbo clips to keep them together. Throw those in there with my papers, and then I'm ready to go. Now, lots of times I'll do the papers ahead of time where they're already fused, but sometimes the papers are kept separate in there with a little clip like this. And I'll use my glue stick, and then I'll glue these when I'm traveling. But oftentimes I try to go ahead and have that part done where I can just get to the stitching. So anyway, I kind of wanted to show you really quickly some of the supplies that I use when it comes to English paper piecing. All right, let me zoom out now, and we will get started on the process for making your leave-in stabilizers for your papers. Oh, one thing, don't let me forget, some of y'all that were with me this last week, I finished my charity quilts, the Pinwheels quilt for Child Abuse Prevention Month this month. I know some of y'all are participating. I finished my quilt top last night, so I'll show it to you at the end. All right, so we're gonna start here with the hexie die is gonna be the first one that we use. So I'm gonna put this out of the way. And I'm not gonna open this bag. I actually have yardage I'm gonna cut from. So what I like to do is I've written on mine here that I need a 4.5 by 4.5 inch strip cut from the yardage. And then actually, hey Christy, oh, I'm glad you're enjoying my shows. Thanks for coming, I'm so glad you're here. These we'll do strips. So I'm gonna cut a strip, and there's a certain way you fold it, kind of accordion style. We're gonna run it through the machine. I'm gonna show you what it looks like, and then we're gonna talk about fusing it down. Hey Janelle, welcome. Glad you're here again. And then the fabric, I'm not gonna show you how to cut the fabric. You do it the exact same way. You're just gonna grab your scraps. You can layer up 6 levels high and cut your fabrics. So that's what this side is for. The smaller side is for your papers. And again, this is a 1-inch die. All right, so first off, let's open this up. This is the extra firm. This is the Crafting Fusible. And let me move this out of the way here. A little bit more room. And we are gonna cut a strip from here. And then we're gonna fold it to make our cut. So I am just gonna cut, like I said, I wrote on there to remind myself the size, and it's 4.5 inches. So that way you'll have a little hanging off, you'll have a little extra. So there is a little bit of waste with doing it this way. If you don't like that, you know, again, you don't have to do it. No, Megan, so that is a great question. A lot of people ask about that. The Fusible is not too stiff for a quilt because when you wash it, it turns into the consistency of like a dryer sheet. And you can't even tell that they're there, which is really nice. And then if you don't wash it, say I've made some mug rugs. I've got a mug rug over there, and I haven't washed that yet. And it has a nice feel to it because it's firm stabilizer. So if you don't ever wash your quilt, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit more firm just where your actual hexies are. But as soon as you wash it, it turns into the consistency of dryer sheets, and you don't even know that it's there. So it's not a problem at all. But that is a great question. I'm glad you asked, Megan. Thanks for joining us. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this 4.5 inches here. I'm gonna fold this and put it up. So Janelle, do you use the EPP die for your papers, to cut your papers? I'm curious to know. I'm gonna turn this around. Oh, Quilt Husband brought me the mug rug, so here it is, so you can see. This is a mug rug here, and I used the firm stabilizer, and I haven't washed it. I haven't had any spills or anything on it. This is one that I used thicker thread to do the quilting so it would show up really well. And it actually has a nice firmer feel for my mug. So when you put your mug on here, it's not, you know, as soft as it would be if it was nothing behind there, but it actually gives it a nice firm feel. So it really holds your mug really well where those are. But once I wash this, then it's gonna be a bit more flimsy. So yeah, just to let you know. Yeah, so Megan, that's how it came about. I do not love taking out papers, and if I had to take out the papers, I would not do English paper piecing. That's how much I don't like it. I mean, here's an example. This is one that's got a paper in it from a long time ago. So when you've got the paper in here like this, let me zoom in again. Yeah, the Fusible is great. You actually, I'll show you where you can fuse it and iron it in, or you can use non-fusible stabilizer. And just use a dab of glue from your glue stick and do it that way too. But I want you to see, so if you left this paper in here like this, to get the paper out, what do you have to do? You have to fold this back and you have to like try to wiggle the paper out, and look what it's doing. Look what it does to my fabric. And here I've glued all that down nicely, and then here I am trying to like wiggle these papers out, and look at that. So you got to kind of pull it. Now look what this looks like. Look at that. That drives me nuts. I was like, I don't want to do this. I've glued all this down and I have to take it out. Now I know it may not be a big deal for some people. This is just my preference, so you do you. But I just want to give you an option. So what I normally would do when I first started is I'd have to take this to the pressing station, and I would have to try to get the iron where when I pressed it, I pressed everything back in place. And I was like, I don't want to keep doing that. So that's how I came up with, I was like, you know what? I've got some stabilizer in my closet. If it's firm enough to wrap around the edges of my fabric, I'm going to use that. So that's what I've been using. So again, just so you know, the links are in there, but this is the Heat and Bond. It's made by Thermoweb, and it is the non-woven craft fusible extra firm stabilizer. You can get it in the little bag, or like this, you can get it according to yardage, and it would look like what you just saw me cut from this great big sheet here like this. And it is pinned in chat for you. All right, thank you Thermoweb for sending me more because I needed it. Okay, so I'll put that aside. All right, so now we've cut a strip here. Let me zoom back out. There we go. So I've cut a strip here. So I'm going to get my die, and what I do is I fold it like an accordion. Now you don't have to worry, if you know with Accuquilt, you're supposed to kind of have it positioned a certain way at an angle, and you know, making sure when you're doing it with fabric. I don't really care personally when it comes to my scraps. I just lay them on there and cut them. It doesn't matter because I'm using it for EPP. That's what I mainly use it for. But with this, it doesn't really matter how you lay it, just as long as you've got it covered on both sides. Now, like I said, I do 4.5. You probably could get away with 4, but you don't have much wiggle room to do that. So I just get it all the way here to the edge, and then I call it accordion style. I just fold it accordion style. And I check to make sure that it's covered on this end. I make a little crease there and fold it. And then I'll do the same thing. I'll come here, fold it, and then I get to go one more time. And so I've got 1, 2, 3, I've got 4 layers, and I can get 4. So 4 layers there, I get 16. I can get 16 papers with this right here. So then if you aren't familiar with Accuquilt, you've got the mat that you have to use, and you set it on top there. And then with just the little mini, which is really nice, you just crank this through. And it's super simple. You just like that. Now I also have the Go Big. I have the electric one, which I know a lot of quilters like, especially if they have arthritis or shoulder problems. It's a lot more pricey, but this is an option here for you, just something really quick. I think this one's like on sale right now. I think maybe for $100, and I think it comes with like 3 or 4 other dies with it. So just an FYI on that. Okay, now we go. And then there's your papers. Here's all the papers. So we've got 16 there. Now, keep in mind, there's glue on one side of these. And we're gonna go to the pressing station in a minute. I'm gonna show you how to glue these down. So we've got the glue, but that's it, like that. That's just, boom, all of a sudden you've got 16 of them there. So you kind of have to pay attention when you're stacking them. Make sure, I kind of moved a few of those around. Make sure that the glue side is on the bottom. Otherwise, if you accidentally glue it, you're gonna get it on the bottom of your iron, and that is no fun, no fun. So Megan, Accuquilt is going to be making more shapes. I've talked to him about this because there's a lot of EPPers and people kind of went wild with when I started doing it this way, and that's kind of how I came up with the jewel petal is a common geometric shape. I didn't invent that shape, but they didn't have this die. So you can go on my blog and there's a free pattern to make, I think it's my sunburst quilts on there, and it's using that die, but I love that shape, and it's a combination of, what did I just do with that? It's a combination, I don't have it on this one. I have another one somewhere. It's a combination of the two. You can combine the hexie and the jewel petal to get all kinds of fun stuff with that because they're both 1 inch. But yes, they're planning on making more shapes, and you can cut them this way too. So you might get on their website and just check EPP shapes and see, just kind of check from time to time and see what else they come up with. Okay, so now we've cut those. So those are all done. We would do the exact same thing with the jewel petal die. This is for the papers, this is for the fabric. And like I said, I don't know if you can see it, but I've written with a permanent marker to remind me, oh, Belle, this is the size strip that you need to cut for this. And again, if I was doing fabric, I would do accordion style with my fabric here. Do they wear out or get dull? You know, I have been using this same one now, this hexie die, for, let's see, 2.5 years maybe, and no, I haven't had to replace it yet. So I haven't had any problem. That's how long I've been using it. I'm sure eventually they would. I don't remember how much this die is right now. It might be like $50 or $60, but so far 3 years strong on this one. I haven't had to replace it. And you just want to make sure you don't do more than 6 layers. That's what's suggested. So just kind of stick to what's, what they tell you to do on that. Okay, we'll put that out of the way, and we would do the same thing for the jewel petal. Now, I do want to say you have another option. Heat and Bond also has, if you don't want to do the Fusible, because we're going to go to the pressing station, I'm going to show you how to iron the Fusible. But if you don't want to use the Fusible, this is actually their tearaway embroidery stabilizer that I have. And I have a little embroidery machine that can do like 4x4s of embroidery work. And I actually cut, these are 10-inch squares, and I can cut them in half, and I can fold it over once and use that. So if you have that, that's another option for you, is to use it. But remember, it needs to be firm or extra firm, okay? You can't get away with it if you do you can't use like thin interfacing. It's got to have a firm lip on it, and I'm going to show you in a minute why. If you didn't, then it's there's not going to be a straight edge to fold your fabric over, and your hexies are not going to look right. Okay. All right. So let me grab a couple of already cut fabrics here. Let's see which one we're going to use. Something you guys can see pretty well. We'll grab this one, and I'll grab one more. And I already cut ahead of time the one out of the regular stabilizer that's not fusible. So I'm going to show it to you both ways, okay? So I'm going to show it to you with a fusible. And then I'm going to show it to you with a non-fusible that you can use your glue stick. All right, you got 2 options there. So let me get my glue stick. We're going to go do this over at the pressing station so you can see how this works. All right. Okay, so let me double check and make sure. You'll see a glistening for the one that has glue, and no glistening if there's no glue. So this is the glisten. This is the one that we're gonna iron down. We'll start with this one first to let my iron heat up. And all you do, so you can have a stack. Like I'll have these just stacked up if I want to do it on the go. Now on the go, if I did not pre-fuse these with the iron, then I would have to use the glue stick, because you can't really travel on an airplane or whatever car rider line with an iron. So that I did want to give you this option. And I think I linked, you can buy this by the yard if you want there. But I'll just put like a dab of glue right there in the middle.
Lisa says hi.
Hey Lisa. Quilt Husband's reading the chat for me while I'm over here. You'll just put a dab of glue right there. And then I like the Soline glue stick because it's blue and I can see it. You're going to make your glue line there, and then you're just going to fold that over. And then you're going to turn it, and you go clockwise. Now you see this is firm. This is a firm edge. So what that means is with this firm stabilizer is that, or this is the extra firm, you get a straight fold over. You don't have your fabric that's tilted slightly. And when you fold this over, you fold it taut, not tight. And what that means is you're not like pulling it over really, really hard. You want to leave just a teeny little bit of wiggle room, because when we stitch these together on Friday, and I show you how to do that, you want to have 1 to 2 thread links in, right? So you want to be able to catch your thread. But here's the other nice thing. If you accidentally stitch through the leave-in stabilizer, that's okay. It's thin enough to do that, but with paper, you can't really do that. I mean, with paper, it's hard, your needle gets stuck, it's not very forgiving. So there you go. That's what that looks like. That is if you use the glue and you don't have your iron ready. But I'm getting a bunch of mine ready that are already going to be fused, so I don't have to glue it out there when we're camping. But that's your option if you use the glue stick. Now, this is faster. If you use the crafting Fusible, the extra firm, you just line it up, make sure it's lined up, because you've got a 1/4 inch all the way around to each side, and then you hold it down for 10 seconds, approximately 10 seconds. You'll have your steam off. You don't need your steam on. And there you go. It's fused on. Isn't that nice? And then you'll do the same thing. It's a little hot right now, so I'll let it kind of just get a little stiff before I put the glue on. Because when you first lift your iron off, it feels a little more flexible. So just let it kind of not be so hot. And then you'll get your glue stick, and you're going to do the exact same thing. You'll get your stick there, go all the way from the edge, and then you fold it over, taut, not tight. I probably need a t-shirt that says that. I need like an EPP, like a hexie on my t-shirt with a needle and thread that says taut, not tight, and then just fold it over. Now, I have something that I use, and I didn't show it, and here's why. It's called the Tack It Easy. It's a press that I got from a girl in Australia. And it's a little gadget to fold over so that you don't get glue on your fingers. But she's actually not distributing them anymore here to the States. And so I think I only have I have like 5 left. And I was afraid if I shared, then everybody will be like, oh, when are you going to get more? And she just let me know a few weeks ago. I do have a 2-inch one that has the acrylic. If you don't have Accuquilt, you can use the acrylic to cut yours. But anyway, there are a few left of the Tack It Easies, and then you can use that, and the cardboard helps you fold it over so you don't get glue on your fingers, but it's not really a big deal. So there you go. That is the version of using the iron, and that's fused on. So I didn't have to use the glue in the center like I did on this one. I didn't have to use a dab of glue and press it. So you've got either way. If you want to do all of this ahead of time, you'll just sit here with all your hexies, just put those down, fuse them on, put it down, fuse them on, and then you'll just take all those with you already fused, and you're ready to go. All right? And
says hi.
who?
Charlotte.
Hey, Charlotte. Where are you from? And then these are ready. Yeah, isn't that nice? So I just wanted to kind of let you see what that is. All right, let's come back over here. All right. Hey, oh, Charlotte. It's Charlotte from the Hartzell Homestead. It's a fabric shop in, well, it's right outside of Russellville, about an hour and a half from where I live, and they are the sweetest fabric shop. I stopped by when they first opened. We didn't know who each other were, and they are extremely hospitable. We're kind of like that in the South. So this is what this will look like. So I will take a bunch of these that are already fused. I fused this one earlier tonight before we started, and I'll just have all of these just ready to go. And I'll be able just to fold those and take them with me and just fold all these over and glue them, fold them and glue them. And like I said, if you take your glue stick with you and you have all these ready, so these are all ready in here. They already have the Fusible in there. They're ready to go, so I can just grab them, take them, stitch them, and I'm ready to go. And that is it, my friends. Hey, Lisa from Mississippi. Late to the party, no problem, no problem. I'm just teaching everybody how to make their own leave-in papers. Now, here's what I want to say. If you don't have, because I don't want you to buy Accuquilt if you can't afford it, and that's not an option for you, because I want you to still be able to do this. I want to show you what it would look like with the acrylic, okay? So I'm going to grab my acrylics here and kind of show you what that process would look like. So these are acrylics here, and these are all different sizes of hexies. Now, she's not selling these anymore, my girl that I get them from in Australia. These were those presses I was telling you. I have like 5 of these left, and they keep the glue from getting on your fingers, and each one came with that size. I sold these for a while, and I can't get them anymore. But I've got some of the 1-inch ones of these on my online shop, a different brand, and they're the 1-inch. So if you can't buy the Accuquilt, you know, it's just not in the budget, you can just get you an acrylic. And what I do is when I do it that way, I use my rotating cutting mat, and I like my So Tights mat. It's super handy because everything can kind of stay in place. But what you'll do is you'll get your hexie here, and let me find it. Here's the 1-inch. So I'm just going to pop that off. And let me move this down just a little bit so you can see better. There we go. All right. So with this here, I'm going to grab a scrap piece of fabric. So I have a scraps just all underneath. It's like potato bins underneath. I think I got them at Target. And I have potato bins. Hey there, stitching with the sisterlies in Washington. Welcome. I grabbed my scrap, and this is how I used to do it before I did it with Accuquilt, but it took a lot longer to do. So I use the smaller, this is the 28mm rotary cutter, and this is how, you know, you would just put your fabric here. You can use these are magnets, and it keeps everything in place. And then you would just go around, whoops, I say it keeps everything in place. You just go around and cut around it, and this spins, so you're not having to like turn in a very strange way to cut those. But this just takes so much longer, and so once I found Accuquilt, I'm like, you know what? It's worth the $100. So I didn't do like the best job of that. I just kind of rushed through it. But as long as you've got a 1/4 inch there on each side, you're good to go. Right, that's how you do it. So you would do the same thing with your papers. So this is the firm stabilizer here, and you would just put that on there wherever you feel might be most conducive. I think that might work like that. And then you're going to cut. I'll put these here. But you see, it takes a lot longer to do it this way. And that's why maybe some people want to get the papers. I don't know, some people may not know about this. I guess, you know, it would help if I have my rotary blade open. I am so used to using my Havel's rotary cutter that automatically like comes out of its little home. I'm not used to using this one. Havel's doesn't have one exactly like this in this size, so there you go. And you would just cut these. But you see, this would take a lot longer to make all these this way if you had to do it by hand. But if that floats your boat and you're cool with it, just sitting around cutting all these up, that's how you would do it. If you don't have Accuquilt or can't buy Accuquilt or anything like that, you could just do it with your acrylic. I will show you this really quickly, the press, so you can see what that was all about. So I'm going to grab one of my little fabrics here, and I'll show you what the press does. So you put your fabric here in the middle. You line it up. And what did I cut? Oh, I cut a 1-inch paper. This should have been, I should have cut a 3/4 inch. I should have cut it smaller with the acrylic. I got the wrong size of acrylic there, so I'm gonna have to use one of these over here that I already cut. So you would put your paper here in the center, and you would do the same thing with the glue. If this was already fused, let me use, where's the one that I already fused? I set that somewhere, I don't know where I set it. So we'll just go ahead and do it with the glue. You'll put it on there, line it up just like you did before. Now you have to keep your fingers in the middle. You keep your fingers there with this. And then you put the glue there like that. And then you just fold it over like that. And then you turn it, put the glue, and fold it over. And so that keeps you from getting glue on your fingers if that bothers you. So some people like to use that. I use that sometimes, but when I have the Fusible, you don't have to mess with glue if you don't want to. Again, I don't baste mine with thread. I don't thread baste. I always glue base or I fuse. But you do what works, you know, do what works best for you. But the leave-in papers, I tell you, the leave-in papers I think are key. They save so much time because you think about it. If you had stitched, or if you had made this, right? When you're done with all of this, what do you have to do? How long do you think it would take you to take all these papers out? Now this one actually is accidentally coming out because I've used it for demos so many times. The glue kind of came undone. But if you think about it, this would be stitched down. Eventually it will be, probably to a tote bag or a jean jacket or something. This will be stitched down. But you can see how flexible it is. But it was still firm enough to be able to fold all of that over each one of those edges there. But you would have to be taking each one of these out, right? And then you have to like get everything back, you know, where it was. All of those folds of fabric would have to go back and you have to press it. And I just was like, I'm not doing that. So I wanted to share with you guys tonight my method for making your own leave-in fusible stabilizer or leave-in non-fusible stabilizer. And again, Heat and Bond makes several options for you if you want to be able to get you some and try it out. You could start with a small pack. This is 1 yard, or you can get it by the yard if this is something you really love to do. And we get to the fun part, which is the stitching. All right, the stitching is actually what I like to do the most. But any questions? You guys have any questions on anything? Did I leave anything out that I should have mentioned that I didn't? I think that's about everything. So y'all are good to go with making your own stabilizers now. Now for Friday, what we're gonna do is Quilt Husband and I are going camping. We usually go twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. And we're gonna go, I think, Thursday through Sunday. So my live on Friday at 1, I am bringing my EPP, and I'm actually gonna show you how to stitch a hexie and my whole process for that, okay? So if you wanna join me Friday, you can do that. And then Saturday, I'm taking my featherweight out there. And we're gonna do stitching Saturday. So I started stitching Saturdays this last Saturday, and that's where we just get our works in progress and we work on it together and just kind of hang out. So you're welcome to join me for that. But I will have my featherweight, and I'm gonna be making Dresdens. So I've got all the petals cut, and I have cut them from ties, okay? I have been cutting up tie after tie after tie. I've got 46 ties that I've cut up. And a friend of ours passed away in November. She gave me all of the ties, all of his ties, and I'm gonna make some memory pillows. So I'm gonna be taking those blades with me and sewing those up on my featherweight. But before we go, I wanna show you my lovely Pinwheels child size quilt. I finished the quilt top yesterday, last night, and I'm donating this one for National Child Abuse Prevention Month. I'm donating this one to my local advocacy center once I get it quilted. And this is the small size. So if you want to be part of that, you can look back on my YouTube lives Saturday and also on, let's see, I think I did that Friday. And you can be part of the free event as well. If you just want to make the 2 blocks, you can send them to me. People are mailing them from all over, and then throughout the year I'll be stitching the child size quilts up into community quilts that'll be really scrappy and that'll be really fun. And then I'll donate those locally here. All right. Okay, friends. Well, I'm glad you liked the shortcuts, Dawn. And thank you for sharing about your product, right? It's a great product. It works really, really well. Elizabeth, I can't wait to hear about not having to take out the papers anymore. Tell me how much you love that. All right. Okay. Well, let's see. Anything else? Thanks, Lisa. I'm glad it looks great. Yeah, I think it's a sweet quilt too. So the pinwheel is a symbolic quilt block for Child Abuse Prevention Month. You'll see blue pinwheels all throughout the courthouses and businesses throughout the country throughout the whole month of April. I used to be a social worker, and so I always kind of push this pattern because child advocacy centers love the pinwheels. If you don't have a child advocacy center, you can find a local child abuse serving organization, and it means the same to them as well. And it goes to children that have been sexually abused and also some that have been physically abused too. So anyway, thank you for those of you participating. All right, friends. Well, that is it for our Monday night live. So join me back on Friday from the campgrounds. It will not look this fancy. We won't have all these little bells and whistles, but you know what? It doesn't always have to be fancy, does it? Okay, friends. Well, have a great night, and hopefully I'll see you from the woods in the Ouachita National Forest at 1 o'clock on Friday. All right, thanks for joining me, friends, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you didn't, if it's your first time here. I hope to see you back. Let me know if you loved the show, if there's any feedback for me. I'm always open to it, and we'll see you next time. Okay, friends? Make lovely things.